So one of the first questions I've always wanted to ask you is, can you explain in layman's terms, because you're definitely speaking to a layman here, the relationship between the mayor and the city manager and the guiding body of ICMA.org? Does that ring a bell?
The Community Managers Association,
Yeah,
that or City Managers Association.
yeah.
That's the City Managers Association. It's not something I was really directly involved with, except to accept some awards from them for some of the things we've done over the last 4 years. Um, the way our structure, our government is structured very much like a corporate structure. The city staff and the senior staff are sort of the people who run the day-to-day operations. The city manager could be likened to the CEO. The director of finance could be likened to a CFO. So that's the C-suite, to use corporate terms. The city council sits as effectively the board of directors. So the board of directors is in a corporation is generally not involved in day-to-day decision making, bill paying, selection of contractors, all that kind of thing. That's and strategy, frankly. I mean, corporate strategy is typically set by the C-suite and then brought to the city council or brought to the board of directors for approval and oversight. So the board of directors does what the in Lake Forest does, or the city council does in Lake Forest, what the board of directors does in a corporation, which is allocate resources, allocate capital, point the management in directions that they believe are important to cover both operationally and also from a long-term capital point of view and strategically, and then oversee basically the CEO and thereby the senior staff. And essentially, the city council has two employees: the city manager and the city attorney. So that city attorney is sort of like the general counsel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the mayor is really like the chairman of the board. So, like in any corporation, the chairman of the board works very closely with the CEO, very closely with the CFO. I have a couple of friends who are chairman of major public company boards, and they were just regular board members for a number of years. And I remember asking one very close friend of mine, now what's it like to be the chairman of a major public corporation? Is it different than just being a board member? He said, you wouldn't believe how different it is. And I would say the exact same thing about going from alderman to city to mayor. It's an order of magnitude different level of responsibility, much more involvement in policy matters, but also in sensitive personnel matters, union relations, things that the city council on a day-to-day basis really isn't in a good position to manage because it's 8 people and it's hard to get 8 people to do one thing. So what happens is, as with our boards and commissions, they get presented with proposals and they can say, what, we like that proposal or we don't like that proposal. They don't say, okay, we're going to go off by ourselves and create a whole new proposal. That's not what the board is supposed to do. That's not what the city council is supposed to do. Go back and do some more work on it and make it more acceptable to us, or take it in this other slightly different direction, but not writing it from scratch and not implementing it. So that it's very easy to understand if you sort of think of the corporation as